This is the podcast overview for week 7. We will be covering chapter 4, consciousness. So here is your to-do list for the week. Kind of outlines everything that will be coming up, and let's go through some of this. If you want to listen to the podcast overview for the objectives, you can go ahead and click here. But these are your objectives for chapter 4, which outline nicely what you will be learning and looking at. Also what the goals are for you for this chapter. So these are great to look at before you start reading the chapter. And you should be able to identify each one of these things and be able to explain. That's how you know if you have a good understanding of the chapter. And this is a fun chapter. This is probably one that is more popular in intro psych because it covers sleep, it covers hypnosis, it covers altered states of consciousness, which is always of interest to people. So take a look at the objectives. Then you're going to want to take a look at the lecture slides. Have those with you or next to you as you're reading through the chapter. And then go ahead and read the chapter 4, Consciousness. The other reading that you're doing for this week is HAWK 2.2, To Sleep, No Doubt to Dream. And so this HAWK reading is all about sleep and will be tied to your discussion board questions for this week. I also have some videos here. These are in addition to the videos that you come across in your reading. So you want to be watching all of those. Those help a lot, illustrate different concepts and points. And then I put these in because they're kind of like fun, good overviews of different areas. As you've been seeing, we've been doing these all semester, these crash course videos, which you can find on YouTube, but they're great. And you can stop them, you can play them over again. I've got one that's all about consciousness in general. I've got another one that's particular to sleep and dreams, the different stages of sleep and why we dream, and some research about that. And then altered states. So here's a little bit more about hypnosis and how that works and what the brain is doing when we are said to be hypnotized. So that'll be interesting for you guys. So the discussion this week, and I'm attaching the cite as you write instructions here. Some of you are still having trouble citing in APA format. So if you haven't looked at this document, now's a good time. It's really easy. So just use the one-page instructions to help you just see how to cite your sources. And in your discussion this week, you're going to be integrating not only the HAWK reading, but also the main text reading on consciousness. And you'll be looking at sleepwalking. And according to the research, should sleepwalking be a valid defense for a crime as serious as murder? This is a hypothetical, but has actually happened where people have committed murder and claimed that they did it while sleepwalking. Is this a valid claim? Can that even be true? What we know of the brain and how sleepwalking works, is that possible? So again, it's not what you think, it's according to the research. Is this true? Could this even be possible? And if it is a valid defense for a crime as serious as murder, what about other kinds of crimes? Could it be claimed for those as well? What kind of evidence should be required to convince a jury that a crime was committed while sleepwalking? Like if you were part of a jury, what kinds of experts would you want to hear from, and what would you need to see in order to convince you that somebody could carry out a crime like murder while sleeping? And then lastly, this verges a little bit from the sleepwalking. Are our dreams just a way for the unconscious thoughts we have to be played out? So as Freud would say, right? Our dreams are kind of what we think unconsciously but can't say or wouldn't dare to think about while we're awake, and they kind of come out or they leak out in our dreams. Is that true, according to the research? Or Are our dreams just a result of random neural firings during sleep? So there's kind of two schools of thought, right? There's the psychoanalytical view, that's Freud, in that our dreams mean things, that it's our brain's way of working through stuff in life that we can't otherwise figure out. And then the other school of thought is, well, no, according to physiology and what we know, our brain will fire randomly during sleep. And that can be measured and that can be seen through sleep studies. And these random firings happen when we're in the deepest stages of sleep. But the random firings are connected to our memories. So they often will fire, and those firings are based on things we've seen, done, heard, places we've been, people we know. So this is why sometimes our dreams don't make sense. They have elements of truth and reality because they're part of our life and our makeup, but they don't always make sense. So you can kind of pick which school of thought you tend to agree more with and state why. And so definitely use your Hawk reading and use the textbook chapter to help you adequately support your answers there and make sure that you cite those sources. I've posted some tips, a resource here for you on taking multiple choice tests that hopefully will help. I know not everyone is a big fan of multiple choice tests or maybe not that great at it. There are some strategies that you can use to get better at it. So please take a look at that if that's something that you've been struggling with. You have a quiz this week, quiz 6, that's due by Friday, and it's on chapter 4, consciousness. If we go back up here, so it's just on this chapter is your quiz. And then your exam is going to cover, I think I put it up here actually, chapters 4 and 6. So the memory chapter and then the consciousness chapter is what will be covered on your exam, and that's due by Sunday. And I love pairing these two chapters, which is kind of why I do them back to back. I do them a little out of order. Consciousness makes a lot of sense. Then when you have a concrete understanding of memory, kind of feel like that order works better. The authors of the textbook think otherwise. They wedge in their learning, which is chapter 5. And they're all really related. 4, 5, and 6 are all very closely related. But nonetheless, your exam will be covering chapters 4 and 6, and that's due by Sunday. And that pretty much wraps up the week. Remember again that I do have office hours via Zoom. If you have any questions or you need concepts explained or further illustrations or examples, I'm free to do that. You just have to email me and let me know when you want to meet, and I can schedule you in for a Zoom session. Okay? Thanks everyone. Have a great week.